Hello, welcome back to 40 Days Healing is Often Done in Silence. Alicia Clark Tepper with the YouTube channel Sunshine and Magic 123. Today I wanted to talk about boundaries, something that's a really fundamental part of healing and growth, and probably one of the hardest things to initiate. The reason I say that is because boundaries are constantly being tested and they're constantly being re-established. The opportunity for us to have, test, and establish boundaries comes from oftentimes where we feel that we're not enough, or there are coping mechanisms and people pleasing desires, or being told that we're too much, or people always disappointing us. There's so many reasons why the boundaries that we have currently may be or may not be working for us. And the opportunity for us to take a moment, have some time to think about where we're at with our boundaries right now. There's different levels. You have levels with your family, with your significant other, with business partnerships and children. You have some for your immediate family and some for your extended family. You have boundaries with friends, acquaintances, and those that you don't even know. So different layers, different ways, different abilities to deal. And my most poignant memory about testing my boundaries, I might have mentioned it in my cacao story, but if not, I'm repeating, or for the first time. When I was invited to my first cacao ceremony, I was working on a deal. I'm a realtor as well. And so the client that I was working with, this was during COVID. And so the experience of buying real estate was very high demand, 20 offers on properties, trying to put your best foot forward, waiving all sorts of things that were there to look out for the buyer in the process. And so the buyer that I had, we were putting in an offer and he kept changing it. And I had said, finally, I'm on my road and off for the evening, and where we're at is where we're at, or else we're not going to go for it. And then he's like, no, 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 we need to change it. And so I stopped and I made the changes, and then I sent it off and I told him we were done. And then he came back and was like, no, 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 we need to change it again. And at this time, the tears are just pouring down my face. And I'm caught between holding up the ceremony and completing my job. And so really testing boundaries that I had. And that's like the most recent and one that really calls my attention, because from that point I then went in and had a cacao ceremony and experienced the deep emotional connection that you receive from directly connecting into your heart. And therefore, I had the intention of going in and setting boundaries, and I did. The next day, I talked to this client and I had told them how I thought that was very inappropriate behavior, and that I'm not going to do that again, and nor should he expect me, when I have things going on and I have stated a boundary, to then press against it and press against it. So the strength that I found from that, the wisdom that came in, the feeling more secure in myself by stating the need, and then the expectation of behavior that follows it. And so sometimes we can't articulate that in the moment, and it makes us overwhelmed. But then the next day, there's the opportunity to have the conversation and to say, hey, I realized that this was where we were at the moment, but I felt really pressured and was not comfortable with that. So I need more time with making decisions, and I need more time with um this is the line that I have. And especially in business, now that we carry our phones with us and we can check emails and get messages and have everything at any given moment, you still have the right to set up boundaries and times and have yourself not be available. If you're not able to take a phone call and get back to someone within 24 to 48 hours, that's it's way too immediate. Life does and does not go on such an immediate basis. You have to give time, people space and grace to get back with you, to catch up with the energy, to handle and prioritize what's coming in. And I think that setting, keeping, establishing, and reaffirming our boundaries helps us to go farther and to feel better with what it is that we're doing, we're committing to. And it sure did help me. And I've taken that forward, and I have made the statement to my clients, I'm off at 8 p.m. There are times where we may be working together later than that, but in general, don't expect me to respond back. And then you set that precedent in the beginning as well. So it is about boundaries, verbalizing them, clarifying them, making sure that everyone's aware of where you stand and the expectations you have and what it is that will allow that energy and the best communication paths to work. If you have questions about boundaries, I would love to talk about them. It is something, again, that I am constantly checking and reaffirming and working with. And when you begin to set them and hold true to them and know that you have a right to exist, you have a right to take up space, you have a right to have an opinion, you have a right to be loved the way that you need to be loved, you have a right to have your voice be heard. You have a right to say what it is that you need to say. You have a right to be your authentic self and show up exactly as you are, even if it makes other people uncomfortable, because it's your right to exist. I hope that you have a fantastic day, that maybe you check in with your boundaries and you see what needs to be strengthened and what needs to have some re-establishment and firming up, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I look forward to catching you next time. Talk to you soon.